So, a lot of people have been asking me about tennis and, oh, what's the deal with this? Have you learned anything else? And, oh boy, there's been a lot more since my last video. So, in the past 2 weeks, I found all these scholarship opportunities. I found a coach near where I live who will help train me. I found all these people who are like, hey, we can give you this equipment. And so this week, I drove up to Tuscaloosa to the University of Alabama to get a sport tennis wheelchair that I can play in. And I got some training from their head coach. And it was really cool. So I wanted to share it with you guys. So here we are, you can see the stadium back there in the background over the trees, and here is Stran-Hardin Arena. It's named after two people who were really instrumental for adapted sports here at campus, and all these banners. They have
your destination is on the left.
And I'm really excited because I want to see what this arena just for adapted sports is like. So there you go. So they have this system at the University of Alabama where old players, if they get new chairs or they just don't use theirs anymore, they donate it to the university. And they have a bunch there. I mean, there were a lot more than I thought there would be. And so they can kind of loan it to people. And so I'm on a loan for an actual tennis chair right now that they've just given to me for free. And I can basically use it until I get a chair of my own, and they're going to help me apply for grants to get these kind of things and help me actually find a chair. But for right now, I have a free wheelchair tennis chair, which is awesome. So I got to talk to this coach, and I got to tour the arena a little bit, the adapted sports arena, and I'm a little jealous. It was really impressive. I got this tour, so there's this big basketball area, and one thing that he pointed out to us was that the seats in the basketball arena, you can take them out or put them back in depending on how many wheelchair users you have. So if you have a group of 10 people that are all able-bodied, you can put in 10 normal stadium seats, or I guess, I don't know, just basketball, or I don't know what they're called, but the little slide out seats. Or you can take those out if you have a group where there's 3 able-bodied people and 5 wheelchair users. You can take out 5 of those seats so that the wheelchair users can sit there. And I was like, wow, that is so cool and so considerate. And they've won all these championships. Alabama pretty much dominates the adapted sports world. And in the locker rooms, it's all wheelchair accessible. There's places to store your wheelchair. None of the rooms in the locker room have doors. Pretty much the only places that do are just the bathroom stalls, and those are super wide. But you don't have to worry about your wheelchair and having to push it through doors and get it into tight spaces. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. And there's no elevator either. There's a ramp, and I had to go up it, and it was kind of difficult because I had never used a sport chair except for in Atlanta, and that was only for 30 minutes. So I wasn't very used to it. It's a lot different than the wheelchair that I have that I use. But I got to see that, and it was just really cool. And underneath in the weight room, there was this little flat area cut into where the ramp was, where you could do therapy, on the floor work, but instead of having to actually get on and off of the floor from your chair, it's just basically at chair level and you just scoot over. And I was like, wow, that's so smart. And there were just all these things, there were storage areas where a wheelchair person could just duck their head a little and go under. And there were all these things, and I was like, this is crazy cool. And so at first I go in and I'm going for this chair fitting, and I'm thinking it's just gonna be Evan and maybe if they have a chair maintenance person. But no, I got to meet a Paralympian who has done all these national tennis things, and she actually had to leave early to go to a national tennis match or a tournament. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But also, when I came through the door, Margaret Strand, she was there and she helped with my chair fitting. So I got to meet both of them. They were there for my chair fitting. I was like, how cool is this? And that was even before I had really done anything. That was just the first 5 minutes. So then I go out with Evan, the coach, after touring the arena. It was so cool. Like, I'm really jealous. It was awesome. But we go out and we do some drills. It was supposed to be overcast when I went, but it was clear skies and super, super hot. And so I worked for him for about 3 hours, which was crazy. It was the most exercise I'd ever gotten. And he taught me how to do a backhand and do all these things, and went through a bunch of drills, like going after balls in the chair, so pushing, and then switching to use my racket. When you play wheelchair tennis, you have to hold your racket while you push. You can't like put it in your lap. It has to stay in your hand the whole time. But the good news is you don't have to switch hands at any point, so that's nice. And by the end, I was exhausted. The last drill he did with me was where I did a serve. He taught me how to do a serve, and I was pretty good. But I would do a serve, I would do a forehand, another forehand but moving forward. I would go to my left and do a backhand. Then I'd move forward again and do a volley, which is basically just a kind of bunt, like you stick your racket up like this and just tap the ball basically in the middle of the air. And then we would play it out, meaning just we would volley it back and forth, and I would try to hit it away from him and score a point pretty much. And so we do that over and over, and so that's 6 points I could get total per each time we did it. At this point, I'm tired, I'm hot, I need water, but I'd already drinking all my water at this point. I was exhausted. And then he's like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 18. And he's like, okay, we'll go until 18 points. It was a lot. It took me a while. But I did hit most of them, I think, pretty well. And especially considering that I was tired and I was like, I just want to go home. But I did it, and he's got me in contact with all these people near here. He even told me about scholarship opportunities I have, because there's a scholarship for Alabama and people who are going to colleges with adapted sports for tennis. I could get some extra money by doing tennis at Auburn. And my mom and I were talking about it because the Auburn tennis team, wheelchair tennis team, went to nationals. And basically what they did is they took wheelchair basketball players who were familiar with the sport chair, but it's a different sport, did a 3 weeks, that's no time at all, less than a month, clinic on tennis. They had never played tennis before, and then they went to nationals and did really well. And my mom and I were talking about that. We're like, well, if I just get a hang of the sport chair, they probably need players, especially like women, because there's only a men's wheelchair basketball team at Auburn. So now I'm excited because I'm like, what if I'm like the first woman wheelchair tennis player who gets a scholarship for Auburn, like all this stuff. And it's like everything is falling into place and there's so many opportunities, and I'm really excited. So I have no idea where this will go or even if it'll go anywhere, but I'm hoping to get in contact with Coach Taylor, who's the adapted sports coach, and say like, hey, I've been wanting to know about your wheelchair tennis program. Like, would it be possible that I could play? Because this is awesome. And obviously I need to practice. There is some tennis courts in my town, and my mom and I were just thinking, well, we could do the same drills that Evan did with me, because you don't really need to play tennis to be able to do the drills. You just need to throw a ball. And so we're actually going to do that today, and I'm excited. We'll see how it goes. I'm probably going to be super tan by the end of the summer doing this. But Evan suggested spending like 50% of my time with a coach doing training, so we'll get in contact with him, but also 50% of my time like on my own and doing this. And I'm kind of a little overwhelmed right now because I'm like, I have swimming and then work as a swim coach, and like swim is my whole day. How am I gonna find time to play tennis on top of that? But we'll see how it goes. And I'm crazy excited, and I'm excited. This video was made possible by my patrons on Patreon, Terry Sentner, Timothy Cordomachi, and Katie Little. They're so generous, and I'm so grateful for their help. And if you would like to help me make more videos, please consider donating yourself. If you can't find the money to donate, please just like, share, comment, subscribe, interact with my channel and my videos to help me reach more people and promote my videos to more people. And hopefully they can learn a lot from me. But I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you all for supporting my channel. Bye.